Hello and welcome to Turning Point. I am your host Rika Roy. It is the final countdown when Australia and New Zealand wake up on Monday morning. One of the nations will be the World T20 champion. The final begins at 1 a.m. on Australia's east coast and at 3 a.m. in New Zealand. This is New Zealand's third straight ICC event final and Australia's first since they won the World Cup in 2015. Now the trans-tasmanian rivals clash at the T20 World Cup stage. Australia this time have won the toss and are bowling first. They go in with an unchanged team. The Kiwis had to make one change due to the freak injury to Devon Conway. Tim Seifert will be keeping wickets for them. Now, New Zealand have never beaten Australia in any knockout match. They have played each other in 17 quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals, out of which 16 have been won by Australia. This is New Zealand's third straight ICC event final and Australia's first since they won the World Cup in 2015, but they have made it here in identical fashion. Now, tonight, let me get my guests into the show. I am joined at this hour by New Zealand High Commissioner to India, David Pine. I'm also joined by Australian Vice Consul Andrew Collister and Rituraj Borkatoki, who is the Deputy Sports Editor with Khalij Times. Andrew, a sense of deja vu?
Hi, Rika. Pleasure to have me on. I suppose so. I remember the 2015 World Cup final very clearly. Obviously, I was in Melbourne at the time and it was a great event and New Zealand batted first. So hopefully that's a good omen that we can follow through and perhaps win again. But obviously, still some of the same players again playing, but 6 years later, completely different occasion.
Now, High Commissioner Pine, New Zealand have never been beaten Australia in any knockout match. They have played each other 17 quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals, out of which Australia have won 16. How can Kane Williamson convince his mates tonight that it can be their night? Give us some insights from a leader's handbook.
I don't think they'll be thinking about that too much, Rika. They've only played Australia once in an ICC T20 game, and it wasn't a knockout round, but they won it. So I think they'll be feeling pretty good. I mean, you can't ever control the results, but right. I'm very confident that they will about a few things. I'm sure they'll have done their homework. I'm sure they'll have a plan, and they'll stick to it even when the going gets tough. And I'm sure they'll play the game in the right spirit. And then as for the result, well, we'll just have to see what happens.
Rituraj, let me ask you, what is the condition of dew right now in the match? In the semi-final match, we saw there wasn't much of dew. Would you say then 50-50 chance of both of the teams to win this game tonight instead of, this becoming yet another lopsided contest?
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for inviting me. First of all, dew factor, you can't rule that out. With the way that the matches have progressed in this tournament as the tournament has gone along. So teams batting second in Dubai have had that advantage. So that's Australia will be looking at. And as you saw for both the semi-finals, the teams batting second, most of the matches featuring the traditional teams that have won here have batted second. Having said that, New Zealand reminds me of Atletico Madrid in football. They have a team of efficient players, no superstars as such, apart from Kane Williamson and Trent Bolt maybe. So, but they are always a team that punch above their weight in ICC tournaments, and that's why they have been so consistent. But the question is today, can they go that final yard today and win an ICC event in the white ball format like they have done in the red ball format recently?
Yes, that will be the big thing that everyone will be hoping for tonight. Can New Zealand do what they did in the World Test Championship, beat India in the final to become the champions? Well, Andrew, neither of these two captains is having a great tournament. Kane Williamson has scored 131 runs at under a run a ball, and Aaron Finch has scored at the rate of just 119 despite being an opener and getting to bat in the power play. In a big clash like this, do you expect the two captains to come to the party?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you'd want to hope so. I think Kane Williamson has shown, even in finals that New Zealand has lost, he's still been a very strong performer. And Aaron Finch, again, he's got the experience of winning finals even as not as captain. So, as they said with David Warner earlier in the tournament, form is temporary, class is permanent. So, I think you'll see some great players standing up tonight for what is hopefully a really good game.
Rituraj, would you say that David Warner's form will once again be key to Australia's chances of winning this final?
Yeah, well, as you said, his wicket is key. As you have observed, maybe in all the matches that David Warner have played well and scored runs, Australia have won in this tournament. So he will have a very big role to play in this match as well, I believe, in terms of Australian batting is concerned. So New Zealand will look to take his wicket as early as they can.
Hi, Commissioner Pine. New Zealand side doesn't have too many superstars, so they say, but the team is a superstar team. Would you say tonight we will perhaps once again see another big star, coming to the fore, playing a match-winning knock, and New Zealand time and time again they want to prove how good they are by throwing up these stars who are pretty unknown to the rest of the world?
Yeah, well, I think the world found out about Daryl Mitchell the other night. He's a pretty good player. We've always known he was a good player, and I think we've got a lot of very, very fine cricketers in that team. Perhaps the world doesn't see as much of them as they might, but they play a lot, and they play well, and there's a lot of experience and depth. I've been watching New Zealand cricket for 50 years, and this is the best team I've ever seen from New Zealand. We had a pretty great team in the 80s. I saw them beat the West Indies in Dunedin, but I think what they've achieved this year, win, lose or tie, let's hope it's not a tie, tonight, I think, the year they're having is the best year of cricket that any New Zealand cricket fans can remember, I think.
Andrew, there are too many Mitchells in this clash tonight. Would you say of all the contests and all the matchups that we are seeing, Daryl Mitchell versus Mitchell Starc is one that you would like to watch out for?
Well, we could have had Mitchell Johnson a few years ago, but thankfully he's gone. Not as many as we could have had. But no, I think it'll be really exciting. Mitchell Starc up against the New Zealand openers, I think it'll be key. As I said before, it was key back in 2015. Mitchell Starc obviously had a great first over then, and he'll be hoping to repeat the dose. I don't think he's been probably in the best of form this tournament, but when he gets those Yorkers right, there's no one better, except maybe Trent Bolt. We're talking about great left arm bowlers, but we'll definitely be hoping Mitchell Starc has the better night of the two.
Rituraj, also Tim Southee has had a great tournament. He wasn't there the last time around when New Zealand played a knockout game as big as this, but what a turnaround it has been for him.
Always been a wonderful player, isn't it? I mean, he has been, I think Bolt and Southee, I mean, the New Zealand's greatest ever fast bowling pair in terms, and this is a fact that even Mr. Richard Hadley has acknowledged. So very good to see him bowl well, and he has done really well, as you said, in this tournament.
Right. Hi, Commissioner Pine. I don't have too much time left on the show, but let me ask you the matchups that you are looking out for tonight.
I'm really looking to see how our guys go against Mitchell Starc. He's a fantastic bowler, but I'm really keen to see how Mitchell goes against him. Mitchell learnt his cricket in Western Australia. He's a good player of pace bowling, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how that one goes.
Right, the national anthems have begun. The match is shortly to get underway. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the show. Of course, we'll get back to me at the end of the final. And as I told you, that neither Australia nor New Zealand are awake at this hour. They'll wake up to find who becomes the World T20 champion. Well, that's a wrap on Turning Point for now. Thank you very much for watching.